Thank you for joining me on this trip report on Korean Air Sydney to Incheon. This flight report was from 2019, before the pandemic. At this time, Korean Air was operating Airbus 330-300 high gross weight version. This was a more recent delivered unit of Airbus 330 to Korean Air. This flight was originally meant to be a first class. However, Korean Air was phasing out these pseudo first classes at this time, only leaving true first class to US and European routes. This first class on Airbus 330s and some Boeing 777s were more of a refashioned business class with a slightly different trim and an exclusive cabin just for first row of business class. Sydney Airport has been through quite a bit of renovation in past 10 years. This is one of the major waiting hall, which has a very good view of the tarmac, better than Qantas business class lounge, may I say, with a nice view to the main runway of the Sydney Airport. I'm also quite fascinated by the McDonald's conveyor belt as well. Now, given this was a Korean Air flight, I could use a SkyTeam lounge. This lounge, although has a label of SkyTeam Lounge, I believe is being operated by Plaza Premium Lounge Company. This lounge has a decent selection of hot food and cold food and drinks, and has a plenty of seating area throughout the lounge. I don't think I ever really experienced this lounge being too crowded, but it might be because I always use it early in the morning or late in the evening. So you can see the flight that I'll be taking today, the Airbus 330, Korean Air in old livery style. Good morning. Thank you. Korean Air uses the Apex suite on Airbus 330 and some of its Boeing 787s. They now have a newer version of business class seat. Apex suite is quite a nice seat that allows a direct aisle access whilst having a 2-to-2 arrangement so that airline can make decent money on the business class seating, achieving a reasonable density. The only issue with this seat is there's not much storage space and not much place to leave stuff like drinks safely or stably anyways. Korean Air is known to not change safety video for quite a long time. So they made this kind of preamble video before the flight safety video to make it look a bit more fresh.
가지고 오신 짐은 좌석 아래와 선반에 보관하실 수 있으며 특히 선반 속의 짐은 떨어질 우려가 있으니 겹쳐서 넣지 않도록 주의해 주십시오. 기내에서는 비행기 통신과 항법 장비에 영향을 미치는 FM, AM 라디오, 휴대용 TV 등의 사용이 항상 금지되어 있습니다. 휴대용 전화기 등 전자기기는 무선 통신 기능을 끄는 경우에 한하여 사용하실 수 있습니다. 휴대용 전자기기 및 배터리가 압착될 경우 파손 또는 화재 위험이 있으니 주의하시기 바랍니다. 휴대용 전자기기가 좌석
It was slightly overcast that day, but there was enough sunlight to have a look at variety of Sydney suburbs. So I have labeled here, starting from Burwood, and we got a good view all the way to Penrith before we started turning north properly. Not long after takeoff, once we reached the cruising altitude, the first meal of the flight was served. As the flight departs around 8 and 9 a.m., I think this was labeled as breakfast. And because I wanted to have a kind of a light stomach, I opted to have a porridge with the marinated beef steak. This is what the amenity kit contained. It's a usual toothpaste, eye mask, and hair comb and things like that. And in terms of the creams and things, it was an Atelier Cologne brand from France. There's a screen-enabled controller and also a big screen, which I believe was a touch screen. The system that's being used is the Thales system rather than Panasonic. So this is an Android-based AVOD system. Certain actions like playing music or checking the flight progress can be done on this smaller handset unit. Korean Air does not supply a mattress. It just provides you with a blanket, which is not that different from the economy class, and the pillow. And they have this very awkwardly positioned PowerPoint. Korean Air does use mood lighting, but not terribly well, I must say, on Airbus 330s. And in this Airbus 330, somewhat similar to Airbus 350, the mid overhead bin is removed to give it a more higher ceiling spaciousness. This is a mid-flight snack, which is a prawn snack and a cookie. There's no other savory mid-flight snack to speak of. And this is what the toilet looks like. This is one at the very front, so it's a bit curved and a little bit, I guess, claustrophobic. The sticker, they've been using it since mid-90s, but they're still using it at this time. Just showing you what the economy class looks like. You can see that it's using a Thales AVOD screen. And this is the main business class section. And this is what used to be a first class section. You can see that seat itself is not different. It was time for lunch. It started with the amuse-bouche, which involved, I think, was a tuna and scallops, and it was served with a garlic bread. And I think there was either tomato soup or gazpacho of some sort. So the Korean Air main meal largely revolves around steak or mixed rice. in business class. I don't know if this has changed recently. It's a good steak, but it's just a bit uninspired. And you do get cheese, soft cheese and hard cheese, and the usual selection, and the fruit salad and ice cream. This was in September, so it was still warm, but not too hot. So I could see a lot of green sceneries as we approached Japan and Korea. If you fly through Korea, usually as the aircraft descends, you can see a lot of this airport runway looking things. Most of them are military airbase. Some of them are airport that's also used for commercial purpose. I think this is one of the World Cup stadiums. Most of the aircraft approaching Incheon end up landing heading north, and it was no different this time. As this was a September, we landed with plenty of light, so we could see a good view of the airport and its surrounding area. We got a glimpse of the few aircraft taking off. This is Jeju Air 737, and here is a Singapore Airlines Airbus 350 regional configuration, not that you can tell from outside. And we got a good view of Boeing 787s. Some of them are now have been sold to US Air Force, not donated like Qatar. And you can see Boeing 787, and also you can hear the cheesy music that Korean Air like to use for boarding. I believe these musics may have changed with the CEO changing to more younger generation. Walter Cho is the name. So overall, Korean Air, decent seat, nothing amazing, no seat cushion cover like Qantas, food average, not interesting. I do want to try Korean Air again. They are revamping their brand, but not my first choice. They're not the cheapest option either, but things may change. Anyways, thanks for enjoying this video. Please don't forget to subscribe and like, and I'll come back with more interesting videos.